Why is this day important? And maybe you can provide some background to why the UN decided on celebrating a day called World Radio Day.
World Radio Day is a day that globally is accepted and well recognized. First, because the United Nations realized that radio is one medium that is very important to the communities. And for the reason that it has a global acceptance, and for it to have been accepted, there was a very long consultative process. There were people that were on board to do a research, and UNESCO facilitated this after the program and the project was proposed to us. So it is a very important day, and it has been accepted by the UN General Assembly. So it's not just a UNESCO day, it's a UN day.
Which means all countries who were signatories to the United Nations, they all commemorate this day.
I wouldn't say it's 100% because from the research that was done, 91% of the respondents were from the member states of the UN. We had about 7% that were not very sure. They were concerned that there is the World Press Freedom Day, and they thought that perhaps we should not have 2 days. But from the strong support with the government, with the broadcasters, especially the associations and the media personnel, it was decided that 91% was actually overwhelming. That's why this day was decided, and the UN endorsed it in 2012.
I think you just made a very important point, and I'd like to bring the 2 radio gurus that we have in the studio with us this evening to just take part in this specific debate. Specifically, she has just said there's World Press Freedom Day already. Why do you think there is a need, Ms. Jaeger, specifically to celebrate radio as a standalone medium?
I think because of the accessibility and the importance of radio. I think it's very important to focus on radio, because if we just talk about press freedom, we talk about all media. But if we have a day specifically for radio, then obviously the focus will be on radio. And I think the accessibility cannot be emphasized enough, because if we look at Namibia, for example, or NBC Radio, then we cover over 90% of the country, and that is actually quite amazing. So I think it's good to celebrate these days. And I also think that it's very important to have a theme. Just like this year, we have a specific theme.
We'll come to the theme in a moment.
Where we create awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think also the one important thing that we need to look at is the mere fact that in most awards, in most celebrations, that has got to do with media, radio seems to play somewhat a smaller role. It's not at the end of the day surfacing or given the highlight that it ought to receive in different awards. You can look at all the different awards. I mean, if you look at in terms of the CNN awards that take place, the African awards that take place, you'll always find that it's always writers and perhaps maybe newspaper journalists that are actually getting the prominence.
The essence is press, in essence, is printed matter.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's why you are neglected in that specific regard.
And I think people tend to forget that this is the medium that is in every house. It's everywhere. You are driving, you are walking, you are in the shower, you are eating. You can do everything with radio, wherever, whenever. Radio is there, and that's what we are celebrating here, is to say this medium gets people talking, it gets to the people and gets people airing their views, and it's become the voice for so many.